This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
I've done all I can to try and prevent people from getting hurt or killed, because it's going to happen again.
First at 11, an Indianapolis woman reaches out to RTV6 for help, terrified that someone is going to die in the creek behind her home. Good evening to you at 11. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. That woman fears the worst if the city does not do something.
Only RTV6's Graham Hunter is taking the issue to city officials.
This creek bed is about the last place you'd expect to find a junkyard, but that's what it's become. Take a look. There's car parts littered throughout the creek. One woman who lives nearby says the city needs to take action to stop cars from ending up down this 30-foot drop-off before someone ends up dead.
You can still see some of his tracks.
Kathy Height is still haunted by the memory of what happened in May.
And I heard a horn just constantly going. I thought, oh my God, so I called 911.
The crash report filed by police says the driver was heading east on 71st Street and drove through the intersection of Fairwood Drive into a ditch about 20 feet off the roadway.
I can't imagine all of a sudden you're driving and all of a sudden you're in the air, just flying.
Height wants the city to put something up where 71st Street dead ends to protect drivers from going down into the ditch.
Trying to get a guardrail or barrier put up here because we had at least 4 or 5 accidents in the past 3 years.
The investigating officer in the May crash said alcohol may have been a contributing factor, but no charges have been filed against the driver. Betsy Whitmore, Chief Communications Officer for DPW, said in a statement, "My friends at IMPD might have more advice on whether a guardrail could have prevented alcohol-impaired driving."
I've been trying to prevent this from happening. I mean, someone's going to get killed.
Whitmore's statement continues. Guardrails are intended to protect drivers parallel to the guardrail. Hitting a guardrail perpendicularly could cause serious injury or worse.
Lights, something flashing, something with reflective lights. I mean, something that's going to let someone know, hey, stop.
Height is just hoping something will change so her next call to 911 isn't for a dead driver.
It's going to happen again.
A spokeswoman from DPW says that from a civil engineering standpoint, guardrails are installed to prevent drivers from hitting something more dangerous than a guardrail, like a steep drop. Reporting from the Northwest Side, Graham Hunter, RTV6.
Well, time now for our Storm Team 6 forecast, getting a live look there at downtown Indy in the One America building. It's shaped up to be a very clear, warm night.
Yeah, and it's still a little bit toasty out there. We managed to, most areas, dodge the raindrops today. We had a couple of isolated downpours near Columbus and also south of Bloomington. But now, radar, it's fairly quiet. You can see we've got the clouds around central Indiana right now, but the nearest rain is basically along and south of the Ohio River, and that's pretty much where we're expecting to see it stay for about the next 24 hours or so. We've got an area of high pressure that's building in, and that will keep us primarily dry. With that beautiful sky over downtown Indianapolis this evening, it is still warm at 77 degrees. That east-northeast breeze around 15 miles per hour, and still muggy, too, with that dew point in the lower 60s. Temperatures in the lower to middle 70s all across central Indiana. Richmond at 70 degrees, at 73 for you right now in Greencastle. As you get ready to head out the door in the morning, it will be a dry one for you as that sun comes up at 6:17. Temperatures quickly getting back into the 70s by 10 a.m.
New at 11, help on the highway. A traffic camera captured several bystanders stepping up to help after a semi overturned on the north split. This happened around 8:15 this evening. Police tell RTV6 no one was seriously hurt.
A new law that will take effect July 1st in Indiana could save lives. The death of this 18-month-old girl in Muncie prompted that legislation.
What drove you to do it?
For Jocelyn, so that other families don't have to go through what we did.
Jessica O'Haron's little girl Jocelyn died suddenly of sepsis 4 years ago. Sepsis is a serious infection that anyone can contract. Symptoms include fever, chills, high heart rate, and rash, making it difficult to diagnose. Jessica says she had never even heard of sepsis until it killed her daughter.
When I talked to the coroner, he had told me that in order for them to test for sepsis, I would have had to have driven her to Riley that night. And for me to have driven her to Riley, I would have had to have known. Had I known or heard about sepsis, I probably would have been more cautious, probably would have taken her in, but I doubt that at the time they wouldn't have known.
The new law establishes statewide protocol guidelines to screen patients for sepsis at all healthcare facilities. To learn more about the dangers of the infection and the law, go to the RTV6 app and click on this story.
There is new controversy surrounding health concerns related to the site of the proposed Marion County Criminal Justice Center. The location was once home to a gas manufacturing plant. Last month, RTV6 found a report that listed 14 different chemicals found on the site. Today, Andy Mallon, who is Mayor Joe Hogsett's representative for the project, is quoted as calling a handful of judges ignorant for questioning the site preparation. Attorney Robert Hammerly found the comments inappropriate.
Ask Mr. Mallon finally if he'll do this. Will he put his office down there? Will he tell the mayor to put his office down there? Will he take his kids to go swimming in Pleasant Run down there? Will he catch fish and cook fish that they catch out of Pleasant Run down there? No. You know why? Because it's poisonous. And yet they want individuals to go to operate there.
Mallon would not do an on-camera interview with RTV6. In a written statement, he says this site will be safe to the public and those living and working in the buildings. Every expert that has looked at the site and our remediation plans has come to the same conclusion. When the city executes its designs as planned, there will be no unreasonable health risks from using the site as intended.
Violence impacts innocent people, and police need your help to stop it. That's the message from IMPD. After another deadly shooting, investigators were called to Sheffield Avenue on the west side just after 3 o'clock this afternoon. They found 2 men with gunshot wounds. One of the victims died. The other is in critical condition. Deputy Chief Chris Bailey says the people of the neighborhood deserve better.
They don't deserve to have this in their neighborhood. It's unacceptable. And we're going to do everything that we can to prevent it and to stop it from happening in the future. But law enforcement cannot do this alone. This is not something that's going to be stopped with just law enforcement activities. It's going to take an entire community all working in the same direction to make long-term change, not only in this community, but in communities all over Indianapolis.
Police have not released the names of those victims.
Police officers across Indiana are learning how to better detect when a driver is on drugs. Last month, Call 6 Investigates exposed the growing problem of drugged driving. Officers are training on becoming drug recognition experts. The new training includes taking vitals. When a driver is on drugs, their pulse and blood pressure can be greatly impacted. State records show the most common drugs are marijuana and opioids. Stimulants like meth and cocaine are on the rise.
Drug-impaired driving is just a huge problem all over, not only the state, but the country. We're seeing in Delaware County, we're seeing more drug-impaired drivers than what we do alcohol at this point.
The drug recognition experts will be out on the street by August 1st.
LGBTQ rights could be a big issue in the race for mayor of Indianapolis. Today, Indiana Senator Jim Merritt, the Republican mayoral candidate, spoke publicly about this weekend's Indy Pride Parade. Merritt now says he will not attend the parade at all. He faced backlash for wanting to participate in the event because of his voting history against gay rights. Merritt says he's changed.
I do understand, though, that my learning, my feelings, and evolving knowledge may ring hollow to those troubled by my past voting record. You know, they are right to say, show me. Well, I have committed to show you because actions truly are louder than words.
Merritt cited his work to pass a hate crimes bill in the State House. Chris Hanberg, the executive director of Indy Pride, says he appreciates Merritt's decision to not participate in the parade.
Pride Parade, the festival, it is a sacred time for us. It is the one day a year where we can be together as a community, and we don't have to educate people about LGBTQ issues.
Hanberg says he has spoken with Merritt about things he could do to help the Pride community. Merritt also introduced measures he would work toward if elected mayor. You can find those by clicking on this story on the RTV6 app.
If you plan on donating to the campaign to keep Ann dancing, consider contributing by noon tomorrow. Glick Philanthropies will match all contributions up to $5,000 made by that deadline. Dancing Ann, the electronic art installation on Mass Ave, is in need of major repairs. The Indianapolis Cultural Trail announced a fundraising campaign last week. The goal is to raise more than $262,000 by June 29th. For information on how to donate, find this story in the RTV6 app.
Coming up, 'tis the season to find a summer job. Our Hiring Hoosiers career coach shares advice for young people looking for their first jobs.
I was having the worst intestinal cramping I've ever experienced. It felt like a chainsaw going through my gut.
A woman became violently ill while on vacation and lived to talk about it. Now she's sharing her story after 3 Americans who stayed at the same resort mysteriously died. You're watching RTV6 News at 11.
Service from the Hogsett family.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Dream vacations in the Dominican turn deadly, and the reason why is still a mystery. 3 American tourists all died last month at the same resort in the Dominican Republic. Police say all 3 victims who arrived separately checked into the Bahia Principe resort on the same day, but stayed in different buildings on the property. Now, a Colorado couple has come forward saying they were forced to leave the same resort last June because their room reeked of spilled paint.
We were drooling excessively. My eyes would not stop watering. That night, we both woke up soaked in sweat at like 4 in the morning and kind of terrified. We booked a flight home before the sun came up.
That couple filed a lawsuit against the resort after the hotel refused to reveal the chemical used or refund their money. The case is stalled in Dominican courts. A preliminary report has been released for the 3 people who died last month at the resort, but it does not conclusively specify why they died. And the cause of death of a Texas couple in Fiji is also still a mystery. Michelle and David Paul went to a clinic to treat symptoms including vomiting and diarrhea shortly after arriving on the island on May 22nd. They eventually died 2 days apart. The health ministry in Fiji says the flu has been ruled out, and right now officials do not believe there is a risk to the public.
An Army cadet is dead and others are injured after a military vehicle overturned during a training session at West Point. You can see the vehicle here. ABC's Maggie Rulli now with the latest on that.
A military investigation's now underway after a routine training session for West Point cadets turned deadly.
Today was a tragic day for the West Point community in our United States Army.
A 5-ton cargo truck, similar to this one, was transferring members of the West Point class of 2020 along Route 293 near the Camp Natural Bridge training site when it overturned.
They were headed to land navigation training when they were in the back of the truck. They were being transferred to the training site, and that's when the vehicle had the accident.
In that truck, 19 cadets, all seniors, 1 killed in the accident. The other 18 cadets and 2 active duty soldiers suffering injuries ranging from facial abrasions to a broken arm.
Their injuries are not life-threatening. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families of the deceased and our injured.
They were part of a group of 2,400 cadets participating in required summer training, seen in this West Point video from last year.
It's very rough terrain. You can see the hills we have here. We want to make sure that our soldiers and our cadets train in realistic training environment. So this is part of our realistic training.
President Trump offering his condolences from France, tweeting, "So sorry to hear about the terrible accident involving our great West Point cadets. We mourn the loss of life and pray for the injured. God bless them all." Officials will not release the name of the cadet who was killed until 24 hours after his family is notified. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
Central Indiana Girl Scouts honored the 75th anniversary of D-Day by honoring the flag. Hundreds of scouts took part in a special flag retirement ceremony at Camp Delwood. D-Day marks the day Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy during World War II. Organizers say it's important to teach younger generations about D-Day and how it shaped history, so it's never forgotten.
We think it's just very important for people to understand about how we got to where we are today. You know, a lot of people talk about if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going.
It's really meaningful for them because patriotism and service are really at the heart of the Girl Scout movement. And so this is a great way to be able to teach them a little history, the meaning of today, and to also pay tribute to our country.
The flags used today were collected by the Girl Scouts in May in partnership with the Indiana War Memorials Commission, 500 Festival, and Visit Indy.
Well, today also marks another somber moment in history, the assassination of Robert Kennedy. Today, leaders and community members honored his legacy at Kennedy King Park. The former Attorney General and U.S. Senator will forever be linked to Indianapolis. He broke the news of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination in April of 1968 and famously gave a speech that's credited with helping keep the peace in this city. Organizers say the message of that speech is still relevant today.
That message is a message of forgiveness, really, and that we all have tough times and no, things will never be perfect, but just like the message of still we reach is still the main driving focus, and the focus of the memorial itself is that we got to just keep trying.
Last year, Congress passed a bill that recognizes the park at 17th and Broadway, the site of Kennedy's historic speech, as a national commemorative site.
Indiana University will be more expensive to attend starting next school year. The Board of Trustees approved a plan to increase tuition by 2.5% for in-state undergraduate students. That applies to all IU campuses. Out-of-state undergraduate tuition will go up by 3% on the Bloomington campus.
Hiring Hoosiers is looking ahead to summer jobs, that is. It's not too late for teenagers and young adults to find employment while they're out of school. Tonight, our career coach shares advice for first-time job seekers.
First of all, you want to create a resume. Even if you have no job experience, it's important to have a resume. Think about your personal qualities, your skills, your experiences, volunteering, school achievements, sports, clubs, and activities. Think about what odd jobs you've done for family and friends. Next, you're going to practice filling out practice job applications, both online and pen and paper. Have a trusted adult check your work to make sure it's correct.
After you have your resume polished, practice interviewing. Watch online videos on how to interview or ask others to help you. And when you're ready to start filling out applications, make sure you have several copies of your resume and the proper documents that you need, especially if you're under the age of 18.
Downtown Indianapolis streets and traffic are back to normal at this hour after an annual race.
3, 2, 1, go!
This evening from Meridian to Monument Circle. Some people use the race to kick off training season for the Monumental Marathon in November. After the race, runners and spectators enjoyed an after party on Monument Circle with food, beer, and live music. Wasn't particularly up for running tonight, but I'd be down for the after party.
I saw the stroller too. I could go in the stroller.
Just cruise right on through.
Right onto the drinks at the end. Yeah, well, we lucked out with some nice weather for that one this afternoon and this evening.
Yes.
And
Nice.
you know, tomorrow's going to be pretty nice too before things change a little bit, but that's not to say that the weekend's going to be a washout. Let's check out the view over downtown Indianapolis right now, and you can see the War Memorial glowing there in Veterans Memorial Plaza, looking nice on this Thursday night. We've got 77 degrees for you in downtown, 70 in Logansport, 72 in Zionsville. As we go through the overnight, we're going to keep things dry and quiet, not going to have to worry about any thunderstorms waking us up during the overnight. Our temperature 66. We'll keep that northeast breeze going around 15 miles per hour. So that's going to keep any fog out of the area heading into our Friday morning. And as we check out TrueCast here, 8 o'clock, yeah, we got quite a bit of cloud cover around, but I don't think we're going to be dealing with any showers. We'll start to thin out the clouds a little bit as we work our way through the afternoon. So a little more sunshine will build into the forecast here. And our rain chances on Friday, again, less than 20% and mainly over the southern portion of the area. Temperature-wise, we're into the lower 70s for you already by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, even though we're going to have some of that cloud cover to get the day started. A little more sunshine into the afternoon. That temperature for your lunch hour will be around 76, and we'll get back into the lower 80s tomorrow. May not be quite as warm as what we had this afternoon and where we made it into the middle 80s. Upper 70s for you Friday afternoon in Frankfort, Marion at 79 degrees, 81 for you in Anderson, lower 80s in Brazil, 82 in Rockville, and Indianapolis coming in at 81. 81. Same for you in Bloomington. So temperatures right about where they should be and setting us up for another nice evening tomorrow night. If you're heading off for Symphony at the Prairie, temperature 78 degrees at 7 o'clock. We'll be in the lower 70s at 10, and that sun sets just a little bit after 9 o'clock. Let's dive into the weekend. Never too early to look at that, right? And we've got those shower and thunderstorm chances on Saturday, about 30%, about 40% on Sunday, with highs right around 80 degrees. And again, I don't think it's going to be all that widespread here as we go into Saturday. You can see even by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, most of the rain off to the south. Once we get into the day on Sunday, we'll start to see a few more of those showers building in here, especially as we go into the afternoon and evening. So just have that backup plan. But right now, go forward with those outdoor activities you may have planned for the weekend. Just keep an eye on the sky. Temperatures in the lower 80s there Saturday and Sunday in the 7-day planning forecast. We do get a little bit cooler, though, as we head toward next week. Our high 75 on Tuesday, occasional shower and storm chances, and 72 on Thursday.
All right. Cooler days.
Cooler
ahead,
days.
Right?
A little cool for June.
All right. Thank you, Kyle, for that.
All right. Well, Brad Brown is out and about for some baseball again tonight.
Yeah, this time is in Toledo as the Indians begin a long June weekend.
Another game on another night in another city. This time it's in Toledo, but it's another win for the Indians. I'm Brad Brown. We're on the road with the Tribe. We'll recap tonight's victory coming up next in sports.
Only get yours at Zaxby's.
RTV6 Sports on the road on a Thursday night. We are in Toledo for night number 2 of our Indians road trip. Fifth Third Field was the place to be. Much nicer night tonight. When you joined us last night on the news at 11, we were watching a monsoon roll across the Louisville metropolitan area that ended that game early. Went the full 9 innings tonight. The Tribe come away with another win, 3-2. They've won 12 of their last 14 on the road as they stay firmly in first place in the International League's West Division. Show you how they did it tonight. Teams exchanged a couple of runs early on. Tribe got one early on a sac fly. Toledo got one back in the 5th inning on an error, and then Indy added another single run top of the 6th inning. Pedro Reyes sends one up the middle, just over second base, enough to score the go-ahead run as a 2-1 Indy lead. Right back in the bottom of the 6th, though, Dustin Peterson for the Mud Hens knocks one way out. Solo home run, and all of a sudden, things will all even up at 2-2. Back to the top of the 7th, though. Another single run on the board for the Indians. They loaded the bases with nobody out after an infield single, a walk, and a bunt single. And then it's Jason Martin coming up with the RBI. Victor Reyes comes around to score. 3-2 the lead in that one. Big story was on the mound, though, for the Indians. Cam View, short drive away from Novi, Michigan. Had more than 30 family and friends here. 5 innings, 2 hits, a run, 4 strikeouts. Hit from Michigan State, getting it done. The Indians getting another win. 3-2 the final tonight.
Honestly, I got lucky with a lot. I was pretty effectively wild, which helped me. I had them, the changeup really working well for me. So, it usually just need one good pitch going for you, and that'll help you get through one.
Now, this is actually a 5-game series here this weekend. They'll play a doubleheader that was scheduled coming up on Saturday. Tomorrow night, Mitch Keller will take to the rubber for the Indians. He'll be on the mound there as they have another 7:05 first pitch against Toledo. Day off Monday. Indians come back home on Tuesday night. Let's talk about the Pacers this afternoon, another of their pre-draft workouts. That includes Lawrence Central High School grad, former Indiana Mr. Basketball Kyle Guy making an appearance here, of course, coming off that incredible run he made to the national championship at the University of Virginia. Kyle is ready to take his hand at the league. After a most impressive showing this past season at Virginia, he feels like it's a right place, right time situation to make his mark in the NBA. IndyCar on track tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. Practice was shortened by rain, but they got some pretty good laps in ahead of that. Scott Dixon, the top time at over 219 miles an hour. Teammates Graham Rahal, Takuma Sato right behind him. Charlie Kimball had the fastest Chevy of the bunch, qualifying Friday night, and they will race on Saturday night under the lights down in Texas. Don't forget Game 4 of the NBA Finals coming up tomorrow night right here on RTV6 as the Warriors look to even things up against the Raptors. That'll be an 8:30 start for NBA Countdown. They'll tip off Game 4 right after 9 o'clock. We'll see you when it's all done then. Time for a final break, then we're back to the studio to wrap up the news at 11. Next.
Saturday at Ashley Home Store. This is home.
All right, we're going to keep those high temperatures right around 80 degrees the next several days, and tomorrow should be dry. Then as we get into Saturday and Sunday, hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. So no all-day washouts, but it will stay active into next week.
Hey, tomorrow's Friday.
Yes.
Loving that, right?
29 minutes away. You're almost to the weekend.
Good night, everybody.
Almost there.